that was a lot of energy, that's for sure. So, for my roof magnet boots, I need shoes that can allow me to flex my ankles a lot, can also be easily slipped on and off, and preferably ones that I won't mind designating just as magnet boots. So I've actually realized that boots probably would not be a good idea, because like ones like these are difficult to move like that, but they're good for slipping on. So instead I've decided going with these slipper things that I have, and I mean they fit my feet fine, and they actually have a lot of like connection, but I can also slip them out whenever I want. So it's a good trade-off, and most of all they're dirt cheap, so I don't really care about them. They're just kind of like mud shoes really. And for the magnets, I have these neodymium magnets, these little flat ones, which are actually made for like a magnet clasp on a cardboard box or whatever box you might need. But these are designed to have a little adhesive on one side. They're very nice and flat, so you can stick that to a lid of a box and it'll like stick down to the piece of metal or whatever you put on the bottom part of the box. And so these are pretty cheap to get that way, and they're also really good for sticking to things. Now, it doesn't have too much force, but that's where I'm hoping that we can actually have some grippy tape underneath it, and so hopefully this will just work by holding the grippy tape up against the metal. Find out. Metal side down. Now this is not going to be very happy with the orientation I'm putting them in, so I'm going to be very careful with this. But hopefully due to the orientation, they'll actually push themselves apart, and so they actually will not stick together. Alright, so like that. I'm not really sure if that'll help much at all. Not quite, that's a shame. Perhaps I should actually double up the magnets to make them more magnetic. I don't know. Alright, you'll probably want to try a different design than this, because whenever I was replacing the magnets and doubling them up, they reached a point where they all started wanting to just crumple together, and so that made things very difficult, and so I wasn't able to fully double the magnets, but I about 80% plus the magnets, and there's definitely a good amount of sticky to them now, so that's good. Let's try this again. Oh, it's working. Nice. Come to think of it, there's not really any good flat spot on this roof because it's all a bunch of ridges. Even between the ridges, there's more ridges. Let's try getting something that's a bit more grippy, and hopefully that can be not this smooth surface. A little better. If this roof wasn't so steep, it might actually be okay, but it is really steep though. So I'm not going to make the other shoe, just have this one, because the way I see it, one shoe should have enough magnetism and enough grip to get me up to the roof by itself, and then a second shoe would just be a safety measure. Whereas with this one, I wasn't able to get up to the roof very easily. Like, I wasn't able to just walk up the roof even if I had just a regular boot next to it. Now, of course, the boot doesn't have very good friction, but it does have some, and I don't believe that with this particular angle of this roof that it'd be a good idea to use magnets. I believe that my roof might actually be something like 40 or 35 degree angle. So what I think is perhaps with a thicker roof, because of course this is also dependent on the thickness of the metal, with a thicker roof you could probably do this, or with the same thickness roof you could actually do possibly 30 degrees or less. So like that much maybe. I'm not quite sure, but not that much, or whatever the angle is. So, well, you could do this right now, but that's when you get into some scary magnets, because I have some magnets that are like the size of my fist. They're from old 1980s hard drives, and they can lift like a ton, but they can lift like a ton. And so I don't think that it would be a very good idea, because even though those magnets might only have, say, 100 pounds of pull against that metal, if I brought it anywhere near a thicker piece of metal like a train rail or something, then it would just be like 1 ton of force stuck to that thing and I'd never get it off. Worst of all, that those magnets would have like 2 tons of force pulling them together, so if I wouldn't have one stuck to each foot, I could end up losing my feet, because like if they get crunched together or break my leg or something like that. Those magnets are scary, so I think the amount of magnetism that's required for this is a bit scary. But it's good to know that it actually was better than the safety harness pulley system I was trying to do, because I was trying to have a counterweight and the rope going up, so I had a counterweight, so when I went up, the counterweight went down, and it just didn't work very well at all. And I might give that one another go, because it is practical. But I still do have to lug a big counterweight up with me to tie myself, and then I let myself go. So I have to go up to the very top, or I have to pull a counterweight to the top, and so that's not very nice. But another option would be to make a ladder type footing on the building itself. So either I take an extra ladder and actually make the ladder have like an L at the end, so it actually hooks over the peak of the building. But I don't know if I trust that. And then another idea is to actually have native like footholds on the building, to where I have like bars going across, to where every 4 feet I'll have a little footing. It's kind of like rock climbing. I'll have like, I don't know, it's ideas, but I don't have any of those connectors and any like handles or anything that I could use for that. And if I bought a bunch of those, that would get expensive very fast. So honestly, right now I might just stick to just sticking my hand underneath each sheet of metal and pull myself up, because I can go up the thing in like 5 seconds like that. And so it might actually be safer not to have any safety mechanisms with this, because sometimes they just get in the way. So yeah, I'm going to remove the magnets from this and leave it at that. I would like to hear what you guys think about possible methods to make walking up highly inclined, if that's the right term, highly inclined metal roofing better. If I worded that right, I don't know. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you very much for watching. See ya!